Hey, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, so I saw this video from Jimmy Dore about modern monetary theory. And I'll be honest with you, I think both sides of this argument are dumb. And I'm going to explain to you why they are both dumb and why we should have like an actual conversation about something that would actually work. So let me show you this video, right? We're gonna watch about like 8 minutes of this, right? Before, you know what I'm saying, we stop watching it all together. But I'm going to chime in, you know what I mean, throughout. So let's have this conversation. Let's get to it.
So, Paul, you wrote this Substack, and it's all about MMT, and you say MMT is not the answer. Well, I'm going to show people what Stephanie Kelton, who Professor Wolf just talked about, was the economic advisor to Bernie Sanders. She's going to explain to us what MMT is, and then I'm going to get your reaction. Here, let's watch this.
One of a handful of economists who contributed to the body of academic scholarship known as MMT, or modern monetary theory. MMT provides an accurate description of how a fiat currency, like the US dollar or the British pound, actually works. It reminds us that we're no longer on a gold standard, so finding the money to pay for the things we need is never an issue for countries like the US or the UK.
So she's saying basically what
I'm allowed to laugh, right?
It's Wile E. Coyote magic. She doesn't look down and just stop, don't look down. And we could make this thing not even a foundation of sand.
So she's saying basically.
Oh, it's the movie Don't Look Up. It's the more current movie Don't Look Up.
Yeah. So that's just a precursor. Now I'm gonna play, this is about 3 minutes long. Here she's gonna explain how it.
Yeah, look, you know what I mean? You shouldn't really be tying yourself to any one idea, right, as a whole. Just because you should always have your mind open and looking at the entire situation, right? Like, you should never assume that you're always 100% correct. And as I said, I'm gonna put forward a solution. Y'all can tell me in the comments what you think. All right, like, legit, I'm not an economist. I'm not a genius I am a genius, but I'm not an economist by any way, right? I just want to offer y'all a middle ground on this, a third position, and give you a chance to look at this and go, oh, this makes more sense. Let's keep going though.
Actually works in reality, and let's listen to it.
In
Finding
theory.
the votes to pass a spending bill can be hard, but finding the money is never a problem. They just create it. So here's how it works. Whenever Congress and the president agree to spend more, the government's bank, the Federal Reserve, works with the rest of the financial system to get that money into our accounts. Everything's done electronically, so there's no physical printing of money involved. If you got a $1,400 check from the federal government earlier this year, or if your company received money to help cover payroll and other expenses, then you received some of the newly minted digital dollars that were created to support our economy. No taxpayers were involved in that process. It was all done using nothing more than a computer keyboard. So why are we hearing so much about the need to raise taxes to pay for infrastructure and make other investments in our economy? In a word, deficits. We've all been conditioned to worry about deficits. So lawmakers are looking for ways to spend more without adding to the deficit. And that's what this whole pay-for game is about. Unfortunately, deficits have gotten a bad rap. They're almost always seen in a negative light. And I would like to change that. When we hear the word deficit, we probably think of a deficiency or shortfall. Okay, a deficit always sounds ominous. So when we hear that the federal government just ran a $3 trillion budget deficit, it can sound worrying. And it can even anger people. But there's another way to think about government deficits. Just as a 6 becomes a 9 when we view it from a different angle, a government deficit becomes a financial surplus when we look at it from another perspective. A deficit hawk might look at this picture and see nothing but a sea of worrying red ink. That's not how I look at it. Here's what I see. I see what's happening on the other side of the government's ledger. When the government spends more than it taxes away from us, it makes a financial contribution to some other part of the economy. Their red ink is our black ink. When you look at it this way, it becomes clear that every deficit is good for someone. The question is, for whom? And what are those deficits being used to accomplish? It matters how the money is spent and who ends up with the resulting surplus. Tax cuts that deliver huge windfalls for those at the top without sparking investment and opportunity for the rest of the population don't make good use of deficits. On the other hand, spending trillions to support the economy during the pandemic put the deficit to good use. We just had the shortest recession in US history. To me, that was fiscally responsible. Being responsible shouldn't mean running the government's finances like a household. Instead of trying to keep the deficit in check, Congress should be focused on keeping inflation in check. That's the real limit on spending. And it's the thing to watch out for if you're thinking about spending trillions on things like infrastructure, healthcare, and free college. Instead of asking, how will we pay for it? Congress should be asking, how will we resource it? To answer that question, think of people, factories, equipment, and raw materials like wood and iron. If we're going to build high-speed rail, fix crumbling infrastructure, and green our economy, then we'll need concrete, steel, and lumber. We'll need construction workers, architects, and engineers. We'll need companies that can fill thousands of orders for solar panels, EV charging stations, and electric school buses. If our economy has the productive capacity to quit.
I mean, but the problem is, right, number one, we live in a democracy, right? We live in a society, right? We live in a democracy, right? And people are dumb and they're going to vote for shit for themselves, right? Number one. Number two, the other issue is that means that, like, when you back up things like student loans, right, you can't do it universally, right, which we live in a universalist society, right, which is a bit of a fucking problem. What you have to do is you have to go, yeah, listen, we're only going to give out college, or only back up and fund college loans for these things. Like, for instance, doctors, you know what I mean, like fucking architects or engineers, maybe. I mean, we really don't need more engineers anymore. They're kind of not getting paid. Dentist. Oh my God, we need fucking dentists. Like, Jesus Christ. Like backup college loans for, you know what I mean, like stuff that we actually need. You know what I mean, kind of where we are, right? We need these type of things, right? But like, we don't have that conversation. We can't have that conversation in our society. Right? Because, like, you know, they go, oh, but what about me, man? Listen, I paid for mine, blah, 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 blah. And on top of that, the people who, you know what I mean, take these things are going to be the individuals who are going to be more successful. But the thing is we want more people to get into these fields so that we have them for, like, you know, projects like this, right? In the end of the day, right? That's the important part. And we need to take the politics side of it. You don't need to be taking political science courses or like liberal courses in order to do this. We just want you to fucking do this, right? So that you can do it in your area. That's another big one. We don't want people to be fucking leaving, you know what I mean, West Virginia, which needs investment in their fucking infrastructure, to go to fucking New York or LA or Massachusetts or fucking anywhere the fuck, Texas, right? You don't want them to go to fucking Florida. You want them to be in West Virginia doing West Virginia shit for West Virginians. We can't have that conversation. This is the fucking problem that we have. Investment's not terrible, right? But the problem is like when you put the human element into it, it's fucking awful, right? But let's keep going.
Quickly supply all of those things, then we can easily resource it. Or take healthcare or free college. Paying the bills to expand Medicare to include dental, vision, and hearing is easy. The challenge is making sure we have enough dentists, optometrists, and audiologists to treat everyone who needs care. And if you want to resource free college, then you need the faculty.
For some reason, I don't think it's an audiologist. I don't think that's what they're called. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up while they're talking.
Classrooms and the dormitories to teach and house more students. In a full employment economy, all of the resources you need are, well, fully employed. There's no spare capacity anywhere in the system. So if the government suddenly tried to make all of these investments at once, it would quickly discover that it doesn't have the people or the building materials to do the work. To get the resources it needs, it would have to compete with the private sector, bidding up wages and prices. That would be inflationary, and it would be fiscally irresponsible. We are a long way from full employment. We have the resources we need to begin repairing our broken systems.
But I'll be honest with you. Like, I know why she didn't use the real word, right? Because I can't even fucking pronounce it, right? It's Otolaryngology, right? Even spelling that word is ridiculous. Tolerology. Yo, listen, I'm gonna go with that. A tolerologist. Like, yo, that is a bananas word. Yeah, see, I knew it wasn't called that, right? I mean, there is an audiologist, right? There is, right? But like, you know, Ear, nose, and throat doctor tends to be like what they're actually known as, because a toleronologist is something that, you know, nobody fucking knows the word for. And it's really hard to say. It's even hard to fucking spell, bro. That should be like bro, yo, write that one down for word of the day, a toleronologist.
But we have to believe it's possible. We can't let words like debt and deficits hold us back. With a better understanding of public money, where it comes from, and how it works, we can take aim at the many real deficits that are bearing down on us. In every crisis lies an opportunity. We can pick up the pieces and try to reassemble the fragile systems that were in place before the pandemic, or we can build anew, shaping our bountiful resources into the kind of world we want to live in, one that cares for our people
Great reset.
and our planet. I truly hope we choose to be bold. Thank you.
Oh,
So, okay, so she touched on the problem there, Paul, didn't she? She touched on, well, here's what you say.
Not sure what side she's
Because the
on.
problem is when you print money and spend it, that it creates inflation. And inflation's bad for everybody. And now we have banks that are...
Okay, you're not right about that. Right. Think of money printing in, think of this analogy. If you take like, you know, a quadrillion dollars and you print it into a locked box, right? And beforehand, me and you only had $10, right? After you print that quadrillion dollars into like that locked box, right? Me and you still only both have $10. That's the difference, right? Is that like, it depends on where the fuck you put the money, right? That's the big part about this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the big issue, right? When you're buying concrete as a government, like, yes, you know what I mean? The cost of concrete is going to go up. The cost of concrete supplies are going to go up. The cost of, you know what I mean? Like labor in the concrete industry is going to go up, right? If you're driving fucking demand, right? But if you're only buying like, you know, 4 bags of concrete, you're not changing anything. There's a giant difference in what the fuck it is we're doing. Right. And this is kind of the problem, right? Government printing doesn't really cause inflation, right? People's access to currency causes inflation, right? When the baby boomers are now retiring because like they threw every dollar they had into their fucking nest egg over the past, you know, 30 fucking years, right? They're standing here taking all that money that was put in there and had 0% interest while it chased all the yield it possibly could and bring it into the regular market now, where it's chasing, you know what I mean? It wasn't like before, it was just chasing stocks, which, you know, I'm like, oh, the stock had a crazy stock market run. Yeah, of course, because the baby boom money was chasing that. Now it's coming out. Now it's chasing milk, bread, and eggs, and milk, bread, and eggs are going up in fucking price. Crazy how the fuck that works, right? This is the fucking part of this that we're not having a conversation about, right? This was a bomb on a fuse, right? And the fuse is, you know what I mean, out, right? Now fucking the bomb's exploding. We're going to have inflation forever. It's never going to stop because there's $90 trillion worth of value that's going to be given out in fucking, you know, baby boom retirements, whether it's past the millennials or they're spending it, right? They're going to take trips. They're going to fucking stand here and buy houses. They're going to fucking fix up their cribs. They're going to buy new fucking cars. They're going to fucking do all of this shit, right? And the poorer ones are going to do it faster. This is the big difference, right? And this is something that we don't have a conversation about because like we don't want to talk about the fucking baby boomers because like it's generational warfare where they're robbing us, right? The future generations are going, you should fucking pay for us, right? While we're not able to like have kids and families and they're keeping up and they're fucking buying up all the fucking housing. You know what I mean? BlackRock's coming through and buying their house for 30% over fucking market and they're going, oh, great, look, I'm a fucking millionaire. No, the fuck you're not, okay? Like legit, what you're doing is just selling away your children's fucking future. And I get it. Your children don't want to like fucking own your home. They don't want to pay the property taxes on it. We understand all this, right? They go, I want to live in a city. Ooh, you know, like I want to live in the city and I want to stand here and do all these things, right? You know what I mean? Like it's, again, I get the fucking problem, right? It's our society is retarded. I understand. Let's keep going.
Fall, we're going to talk about in a second, that are failing again. Because of inflation. Here's what you said. By pushing in your Substack, you said by pushing for unchecked government spending as long as resources are available, MMT could lead to wasteful public sector expenditures, okay, stifle private sector innovation and competitiveness.
Okay, listen. All right, so let's not competitive off for a minute because that should not be in the same sentence, right? Legit. The government 100% stifles competitiveness, but that's a different conversation. That isn't about money printing, right? That's about government as a whole. But innovation, I'm pretty sure the majority of the things that we're using right now to have this conversation, right? The phone that you're watching that shit on, it was all made by fucking DARPA. Okay. Like, the government's 10 years ahead of everybody else because they're standing here paying private sector people to build shit for them. It's not fucking up innovation. Let's keep this all the way funky. All right. Let's keep it honest. You know where the majority of robotics and like AI and all that shit's coming out of? It's fucking MIT and Berkeley. Okay. These are not private sector institutions. These are government sector institutions. It's paid for with government money and private money that's funded by government money. These are defense contractors. All right. Don't get anything misunderstood about any of this shit. This is all legitimate fucking like, you know what I mean? Like government sector motherfucking innovation. Let's keep going though.
And let's not overlook the potential moral hazard, encouraging governments to rack up debt with the assumption it can always be printed away, burdening future generations with higher taxes and lower quality of life, and of course, inflation.
I agree. For things like Social Security and Medicare, which, you know, they're like, oh, you're going to have to go up 12%. Fuck you. No, we shouldn't have to pay for the fucking old people. Eat a dick. All right? Legitimate. It's a fucking Ponzi scheme and it doesn't work. How about no? Oh, we reduced like by fucking 15% the amount of old elderly people in fucking poverty. I don't care. They're back in poverty anyway, and it's on the rise. This is stupid. What should happen is we should have fucking multi-generational living. That's what should be fucking encouraged by the government, not continuing to make these motherfuckers independent. And anybody who didn't have kids, your fault. Go die somewhere in a gutter. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm tired of this shit.
Which is exactly what happened when they pumped $5 trillion into the economy with the CARES Act. Those $5 trillion, by the way, when the government spent it, didn't go to the things that people really wanted to go to. It went to the pockets of a couple of thousand millionaires and billionaires. So
what's the downside?
No, Jimmy, listen, man. Okay. People got the money. All right. And then what happened is they gave it to the millionaires and billionaires because they're fucking stupid. Okay. Motherfuckers could have easily pulled their money and done some shit. But the problem is that, you know, we keep being told that free association is the most horrible thing we could possibly do. Right? If we would have stood here and legitimately, you know what I mean, like, yo, just like fucking took that $1,500 and everybody, like, you know, had like, I don't know, 100 people get together, right? That's $150,000. You know, I mean, you get 1,500 people together, that's 1.5 million, right? We could have easily, you know, I mean, 1,000 people bought a fucking stood here and built some like 1,000 apartment fucking complex and shit, and you could have all like basically owned your fucking place. But we didn't do these things, okay? You know, we didn't stand here and band together and take our money and turn it into something that would have been fucking positive for all of us. That's the issue that we have. Okay, instead we gave the money to the fucking millionaires and billionaires because we decided that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take our money and put it in Dogecoin and buy fucking Doritos and fucking Takis with it and Funko Pops. These idiots fucking went and bought goddamn fucking video games and computers. That's the issue. And I wouldn't knock them, right? Like, I'm not knocking anybody. It's like, hey, look, I had bills to pay. Because I had bills to pay too. I took it and I spent it on bills. That's what I spent my money on, was bills, right? You know what I mean? Like, listen, you know, I had car notes due. I had fucking, you know what I mean, diapers to buy. Like, yeah, listen, that money got spent on my fucking children, right? Not on, like, games and shit, but on, like, fucking, you know, stuff they need, like food, clothes, you know what I mean, shelter, bills, electricity, right? This is the big fucking difference. The end of the day, like, I'm not knocking anybody that had bills to pay. You did what you had to do, bro. I got you. I understand. Listen, we all trying to survive. Right, but all the idiots who spend it on fucking computer parts and fucking made, you know what I mean, TSMC richer, fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Let's keep going though.
So, Paul, what is your response to her explaining that we should just print money and that deficits are bad?
Well, first of all, she's very well spoken. And I appreciate that she believes in what she believes. It's just that it's another theory. So on the face of it, it's just an idea. And she's asking us to be bold at the end. And she's not offering any proof of how anything would actually work right. Now, for all of us who actually live in the real world out here in the economy, when she says we can't run the government like we would run a household, that's insane. Because how is the government different than a household?
I mean, your household, you know what I mean, doesn't have the ability to conduct warfare. It can't like just kidnap people and throw them in a fucking cage if it needs money. Like it doesn't have the your government, your household doesn't have the ability to build like a fucking highway infrastructure. Your government doesn't, you know what I mean, have your family doesn't have the ability to stand here and, you know, like dictate, you know, how the fuck you're gonna live and your conditions, right? There's lots of ways that like your fucking your household is not a government. What? You know, this is a stupid argument, bro. Like, it's so easy to dismiss. And it's not that I want to believe what you're saying, bro, but like, you're dumb. All right, this is the problem. You're fucking dumb. And I'll let you know how dumb he is. Like, I don't know if y'all can see this on the fucking picture, but like, he has a microphone. Same microphone that I do. And the button, the cough button he has is on the outside of the microphone. It should be towards him, right? Speaking of cough button, I had to sneeze there, right? Legit. This dude's fucking stupid. Right? Like, yo, real shit. He's fucking dumb.
Has to deal with reality. So when we talk about having to balance our checkbooks, right? If we don't have the money, we can take on some debt, credit card debt, and then we got to look at how much extra that dinner costs when you tack on 15% interest because we bought it on a credit card, right? So we have to look at those things because we don't have unlimited resources. When the government considers suddenly that it does have unlimited resources, then it destroys the system that's actually here and built by the people. Because now it's like this giant aircraft carrier that's just rushing through our town and breaking everything up. It's this massive beast that we can't check, and it isn't willing to check itself. And that's where waste comes in. And that's not even the biggest threat. But when you have to balance your checkbook, you'll have to say no to some things. Well, we can't take that 5-star trip.
All right, look. Let me explain how currency works, okay? When they say fiat, it just means by decree of the king, right? Decree of the government. The government says that this is currency, all right? And what a currency is, okay, whether it's a hard currency or a soft currency, whether it's a, you know what I mean, like, you know, it can be gold, it can be, you know what I mean, for tobacco, it can be paper, it can be, you know what I mean, ones and zeros on a computer screen. These are all currencies. But currency serves three purposes, right? It's a store of value, it is a unit of exchange, right? And it's a unit of account. Okay, that's what it is. At the current problem we have right now is it's not a store of value. Okay, now hard currencies are 100% store of values. Okay, the problem ends up becoming is that they are harder for the unit of exchange. The store of value part of this, right, is the big issue that everybody's having, right? This is what everybody's talking about right now. The fact that, like, if you save, you know, I mean, $5,000 a day, right, in 10 years, that $5,000 will be worth $1,000, right? In the end of the day, like in real nominal fucking terms, that's an issue. So with that being said, what they do, what we've done is we've stood here and we've had, years and years where like basically we print money to be able to pay for like basic things, and we allow banks and we give the money to the bank, and then we tell the bank, hey, look, you know, or the bank tells us we'll only give the money to people who are capable of repaying these fucking loans. Makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense. Trust the experts. That's the mentality, right? You know what I mean? That's the fucking liberal way of doing things. Trust the fucking experts. Now, you have to have currency expansion, right? This is probably where I should have fucking started this rant off, but we'll get it right here. When you have you have to have currency expansion when you have an expansionary population, right? So like we went from, you know what I mean, like 1.5 billion, 150, 200 years ago to 8 billion people today. We've had a quintupling of the fucking population. And in that, you also have had to have houses, cars, electricity, food, clothes, fucking, you know what I mean, all the things that go with being a human being, right? Children, whatever, right? You need money, right? You need currency. You need a way to be able to take these slips of paper or these pieces of gold and give them to somebody so that you can have things. Now, the thing is, though, if you have this expansionary population, you end up having massive amounts of demand on your currency, saying, hey, look, we need this currency to be able to buy things. It's a very simple principle, you know what I mean, basic, okay? Now, the thing is, though, is that if you don't have an expansionary population, right, or an expansionary currency, what ends up happening is that currency is constantly worth less, right, or worth more all the fucking time, right? So if you invest $5,000 in a company, you're going to get back $4,000. Now it might end up having more value, but if you save that $5,000 in an account and you ended up, like waiting like 5 years for your fucking return, you'll end up, having, $7,000 worth of value in that $5,000, and you still have the $5,000. This is the thing, right? This is why it is we do it this way, so that we don't favor savers over motherfucking investors. And also, on the other side, we shouldn't favor investors over savers. We have to find a fucking minimum to this, a middle ground on this shit, right? But we're having a problem with that at the moment. That's where we are. The issue is that banks need to be able to, when you save your money, banks should have to pay interest, right? As a whole, right? On the inflationary terms of your fucking currency that they're holding, regardless of whether you have $30 in there or fucking 100,000. There should always be an inflationary fucking curve with this, right? Just constantly a compound fucking interest rate that's tied to inflation. But we don't have that, right? That needs to be something that has to happen, so you can have savers be able to save their fucking currency, so your currency isn't constantly worth less money on one side. On the other side, we probably shouldn't be printing fucking currency in order to do, the things that we do, right? Unless we have deflation, right? We should basically have deflationary terms on money printing, right? Rather than having inflationary terms where it's like, oh, we print as much money as we can until we hit inflation, right? No, right? We should wait to print money until we hit a deflationary fucking point, right? Until it goes, oh my God, man, listen, nobody wants to invest because, fucking blah, 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 fucking they're losing money. Then we should print some fucking money. That should be the fucking term. That should be how this works. I don't know. Maybe I'm retarded. Good possibility I'm retarded. I'm not an economist, but that would make way more sense. But understand, this guy's dumb and she's dumb at the same time, because we're not having a real actual conversation about things. Should probably have this conversation. This isn't that hard to do. I'm a fucking high school dropout. I have a fucking GED. Why am I explaining this? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Yo, look, man, I'm Tom Peters of Pnoid News. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. Go buy my soap. Link in the description. Peace.